I think when we write, we have to keep getting to the truth. And the more truth we write, the better the content is.
You're listening to the Spiritual Shitshow podcast with Suzanne Soul, episode 65. Hello, my little lovebirds, and welcome to the Spiritual Shitshow podcast, where we get into the mountainous terrain the healing and spiritual awakening journey can be. I'm your host, Suzanne Soul, comedian, lifelong spiritual student, and I'm sharing some of the helpful crap I've learned along my journey that has helped me and that I hope helps you too. And welcome to part 3 of the final episode in this 3-part series with writer, producer, and actor Teresa Thome. If you've been following this series, you already know Teresa is a storyteller who brings it all: depth, spirituality, vulnerability, humor, and a fiercely grounded sense of self. In this final episode, we dig even deeper into Teresa's story. We talk about the internal work of separating yourself from inherited trauma, finding your voice, and living a life that no longer needs permission to be honest. And we'll talk about how Teresa finds humor in the darkest moments and how comedy can be one of the most sacred tools for healing and getting through most difficult times. Let's finish strong, shall we? Let's get into it.
And why did you call it warm cheese?
Well, because when we were little kids, we'd always go to the mall. We were Catholic children, but we had always
I'm a recovering Catholic.
We had to wear uniforms. Did you go to Catholic school?
No, I went to public school.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Oh,
I did go to catechism.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, we went to Catholic school and you had to, but then they had color day. And so they'd have, you could wear one outfit that wasn't uniform for color day. And every year at the beginning of the school year, my mom would take us to Woodland Mall and we'd get one outfit for color day. And it was always in the summer because it was just before school started. And all of the kids would be at the mall because they would always have their little ice cream cones. So they'd all be sitting there lapping up their ice cream cones. And, of course, I would always be like, Mom, can I have an ice cream? Mom, can I please have an ice cream cone? Can I please? And she'd say, if you're hungry, you can have cheese.
In lieu of an ice cream cone.
In lieu of an ice cream cone. And she would pull her single cheese slices from her purse.
No!
Because my mother was chronically ill. She was also always prepared to be sick. Always.
And American cheese slices?
Or for hypoglycemic attacks.
Oh, okay.
So she always had them on hand in case. So she would always pull warm cheese from her purse. So while all the other kids were eating and lapping up ice cream, my sister and I would be eating warm cheese.
Eating your little cheese. It's just as good as ice cream.
It's just as good if you're hungry. And it's like, ice cream is never about being hungry. No.
Oh my God, I live. I've never heard of anything like that.
Isn't that great?
Cheese.
But again, that's it's like in my show, I say, why did they all get the camembert and we got the warm cheese?
Yeah.
Like, what is it about that? I mean, I think sometimes we give ourselves permission to treat those closest to us. Maybe not.
Yeah.
We allow the unprettiest parts of ourselves to maybe not be as kind to those closest to us. Yeah. I speak of my own, my own reason why I'm on such a spiritual path, because I want to continue to be a better person.
Me too.
But I think I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm always reflecting on my healing and stuff and trying to work through my stuff. And I kind of came to this understanding of kind of what you're sharing is, and especially when it's around parents, it's like we're in their inner world, no matter how fucked up it is. So it's like we're living in whatever dysfunction or mess or and the good parts too. And, the ways that they are able to be really open and loving or not, or all of that. So we're kind of like inside as especially when we're really little,
Yeah.
we're like inside of their limitations
Yeah.
and their dysfunctions and their toxicity and all the stuff that
Yeah.
they struggle with. And
Yeah,
when
and that was a broken. I mean, it's interesting. Now, your parents divorced, right?
my parents are divorced, they're both remarried.
My parents did not divorce, and when I was little, I would beg my mom to divorce my dad. Please leave him, please leave him. And then I was angry at her for not leaving him because I felt like she wasn't protecting me from him. But at the end, I'm glad they stayed married, I guess. Okay. Kind of weird, but I guess I am. But after she died, I asked my dad, they'd been married 49 years when she died. And I said, how many of those years were happy? My dad, 400 pounds with his hands up on his belly. And he goes, 17. And it was such a random number.
I was like, oh my God, I know exactly how many.
Yeah, 17. But it was more than I thought.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, when I first met you, the kids, we all kind of speculate that maybe she had postpartum. She had some pretty severe postpartum stuff too. She definitely loved having little kids at some point.
Because we're, when we're really little, we're very malleable. We just go along with the program.
Yeah.
And then when we start
so
going
Catholic at that point, I mean, none of us are practicing Catholics.
Yeah.
Destroyed her on some level.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, we have to love the people in our lives for who they are.
Yeah.
And give up the idea of a role. So what would you say, is the kind of underlying message of what you're sharing in the show about, the relationship and what you come to, kind of what is, this is the underlying message that I'm sharing about my experience?
I think one, it's okay to be angry with dead parents.
Yes, sure.
It's so several people would come up to me afterwards and say, just saying, I no longer want to hate my dead mother. Yeah. Guts people. Whoa, are those out loud words?
Yes.
And I shared those words with her brother who's alive and, and family members and her friends and to give voice to that, I think gives other people permission to grieve the way they need to grieve. Mm-hmm. And I think that's another thing is that grieving looks different for everybody. There was a moment in my life after she died, about 6 months after she died. And my sister had called me right after she died, Mom's in my house, Mom's in my house. And I'm like, oh, the ghost of Mom is in my house. I'm like, what are you talking? It was 4 a.m. I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, she's here and I can smell her and it smells.
I can smell the cheese.
I can smell incense. She can smell incense at church. So she's like, and I can hear her husband talking to my dead mother in the background. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, Mary Kay, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm not being compassionate. And I hang up on her. Anyway, a few months later, I was at my parents' house. We'd moved my dad out. My mom had been dead for several months. And I got this whiff of this smell.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh my God, it's my mom. And I literally thought she was there. And then I was like, I know I'm calling you a bitch and I'm sorry I'm using that word, but you were, Mom, you were a bitch and and I'm just screaming by myself in the house.
Oh my gosh. Amazing.
It was so cathartic. And then I walked and then I composed myself and I was like, God, I guess I needed to do that. And I walked outside and the neighbor was grilling hamburgers.
Everybody all right in there?
And it was the smell of the hamburgers.
Oh, that you were smelling.
That I thought was my dead mother.
Oh my God. But look what it gave you.
It gave me such relief. So I think that's a message in the show. It's we all grieve how we have to grieve.
Yes.
And then from the family perspective, each of our stories is unique to us.
Yes. I love this. I just have to say that this is something I have been thinking about so much. And that is our right, that we all have a right to our narrative.
Yeah.
Because it's our narrative. And I think there is such a stigma around if your narrative doesn't match what the other person wants you to see them as.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah,
it's huge.
Yeah,
I mean, I
think an elephant or whatever, right? How everybody describes a different piece of it. Like you.
Yes.
It was so funny. My older sister's getting married, and she really, I mean, my parents were basically done parenting. There's 8 years between me and my oldest sister, and 10 between me and my brother, and then 4 between me in the middle. But the 8 and the one who's 8 years older and 10 years older, their experience was so much different than mine. And in some ways, I think way worse.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So
the first one's
worse.
Always, I'm the first.
Practice.
They always get the worst.
But it was funny because I was talking to my sister on the phone, and I walked into a fabric store to find fabric for her. And I was like, oh my gosh, it always reminds me. This is a good memory I have of Mom, because she would always take me to the fabric store. And my sister's like, I didn't go to a fabric store. And I was like, no, she took me all the time. She's fine. She didn't take me to the fabric store. But what we kind of talked about was, yeah, because think about it, when the pressure, like Mom and Dad were definitely lower middle class, maybe. And she'll say, I mean, she's like, we drank powdered milk. We were poor.
Yeah.
Right. So when she was at that age, 8, 10 years old, she was raising me. She wasn't going to, my sister was caring for me. She wasn't going, and my mom didn't have extra money. She wasn't spending. So it's like the other dynamic that I've been thinking about, that somebody had sent me, I think it was a New York Times article, is we talk about the parent-child dynamic, but the sibling dynamic too.
Oh, yeah.
Which is how we're all raised in different households.
Agreed.
Even though we're in the same household.
Even though, because we're different kids and they relate to us differently. And that's 100% so true. And that's why I writing, and especially what you have done, which is so brave and so admirable, to write a story about something that was so deeply influential in your life, and give your voice and your narrative like a platform. It's huge.
Yeah.
Because,
maybe.
I mean, and that's the piece, like you've kind of alluded to that a few times, where it's like, and I totally get this, like, wait, is my narrative valid? Like, is it okay for me to have my narrative? And I think this is such a piece where we all, it's like the next evolution of us as human beings is to be appreciative that each of us has our own narrative about the same experience. Like you're saying, they look at an elephant and they see different things because they're looking at different pieces of it. But it's also from the different experiences and the personhood. And I just think it is so important. And I know that so much suffering goes on, and so much of my own suffering went on as well, the same as you, where I just didn't feel like I had the right to my narrative, that it was right, that I was a bad person if my narrative wasn't, shiny and sparkly of an experience of someone in my life. So important.
And yours talks about 12-step too. And I think for me, on the flip side of that, not on the flip side, but in the 12-step realm that I participate in, which was Al-Anon.
Al-Anon. I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah. Is I chose my first strong relationship was a majorly abusive alcoholic. And then I look back and I was like, oh, my dad was a food addict, and how was, and so it's like, I didn't hide alcohol from him, but I hid food. And if you loved me, you'd stop eating, and I'd make that conditional.
Oh, yes.
And then it wasn't until like the last 10 years when I was in an Al-Anon, because I go in for checkups. I feel healed, but I definitely still go back in. And I was like, oh, that's right. My mom was addicted to Darvocet.
I was just going to say, I recall just a few moments ago you sharing that your mom.
But I didn't connect that growing up. Growing up, it was always my dad was and I was like, well, no wonder she was moody and mean. And
oh, wow.
She was, too high. She didn't drink or anything like that. She was never a drinker, and she did have chronic pain, but she got in a car accident one time. She was on her way to the pain clinic, and she was so hopped up on pain meds.
I'm already pain meds. Give me more.
Give me more. She fell asleep while she was driving.
Oh my God!
But wait, woke up in the middle of her accident
Oh my God.
and went down an embankment, stopped just short of like a concrete pylon, passed out again.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then they came and got her. And she said to my sister that she couldn't believe they gave her so many points to take her license away because even asleep, she was a better driver.
Ah! I totally missed that pylon.
I totally.
Come on, guys.
I didn't take anybody else out.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Isn't that brilliant?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Wow. Incredible.
And at the end
so,
of the day, sorry, I was just going to
No,
say.
go ahead,
At the end of the
please.
day, that's how our family, and I don't know where your family lands on this, but I know where you land on it. But comedy and humor is what is continually sustains us all. Like when my mom died, the nurse was like, I hope it's not inappropriate, but this is the most fun I've ever had at a deathbed. We were like, yes.
That's right. It was like a comedy show.
It was a comedy show. It was my mom had the death rattle kind of going on, and it sounded like she was saying, uh-huh. So
So that was like she's
like, so we would be like, I was always your favorite. And then we just kept sneaking things in. And then we started to like confess things. And
God.
Yeah, it was really funny. We were like, did you know that Joe was actually living with
Oh
Mary?
shit! Here's for this all these journal.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna get it.
Isn't that crazy? I know.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Before you go, just want to let you know. This will get your goose.
This will get you. Yeah.
Too
Yeah.
funny.
Crazy.
And so that is such an incredible story. And I watched it. It was so good. I loved your show. And so what's next for you? I know you and Patrick are working on a new story for Hallmark.
We did. We submitted one. We're waiting on notes. There's some changes going on over there, so we're hoping it still moves forward. But I really love it. We've got a couple of other projects that we're developing that people are interested in. We haven't sold anything yet, but we're going to keep pursuing that. And then I'm writing with my friend Leah.
Yes.
I don't know if I told you that we produced a children's show together last year, and
The Stanko Magnum.
Yes, and we're doing we've got a screenplay that we're actually like 10 pages done, 10 pages to the second draft.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
Yeah, so we're going to try to shop that. But then I've started doing the book, and it's actually the story of a woman who starts her life in joy and ends in despair, and a daughter who starts her experience in despair and ends it in joy. So it's kind of a complete circle of mother and daughter. And
it feels a little bit kind of like it's kind of echoing of your story.
Yeah, I steal a ton of stuff. The mom's story takes place in 1953. The daughter's story takes place in 2008. So it's definitely, it's, again, it's me, it's like I can say that I don't love my mother. I could say it for 20 years and I hate her and I'm angry with her, but I sure as hell have spent a lot of time trying to love her. So, there's something to be said for the woman that she was and the mark that she made on me. Like she obviously instilled, and my brother said that at her funeral, like no matter our challenges, she raised some kids who really love each other and kids who have gay friends and where friendship circle looks like the United Nations. And, these were my brother's words. And it's like, inclusive. And they taught us to be, they taught us to be loving people. So.
Right. And it's like a yes and.
Yeah.
I really feel like life mirrors that improv. Yeah. Yes and. It's like, yes, there is good and there was pain. And to honor both is a careful walk because you don't want to negate your experience of the pain because there was good. And so it's a learned balance, which is what I love about you sharing that you got to that point where you were like, I want to be able to see in love at this point
Yeah.
without negating my experience.
And the other dynamic that was at play for me is because of the way I felt about my mother, and that my dad felt the same way. My brother Joe did. My sister Ann did. Like I said, so there were the four of us that all kind of belonged to this club, and there is a camaraderie in that. And my sister was my sister Mary Kay, that loved my mom. She was the outsider, and I want to be in this club. I want to be in the Joe Ann Bob club because we say
Cool kids.
we're the cool kids because we say we don't like mom, and we tell one-up stories about how awful she was, and we laugh about them. And Mary Kay's like,
cathartic.
but mom's great. And we're like, oh, and it's like, I didn't want to be a member of that club. So if I choose to love my mother, then I also lose this family dynamic.
Yeah, I get that.
Which I'm like, that's so messed up. In my mind, it's like, but that's family dynamic,
Yeah, and it's also, as human beings, we're so complex.
Yeah.
And I can totally get that, because those siblings for you were a lifeline, and a way that you were able to be with everything that you were feeling and the pain that you had regarding your mom, and to be able to like get that off your chest and unload that and have that safe space to be able to do that, where we're doing it together. I mean, I totally get that. My sister and I laugh about stuff, and, and it's definitely, I appreciate that need to stay, in that connection. So it doesn't seem weird at all. It seems more like completely relatable for me, and understandable, and that goes back to that narrative thing. It's like, that's your story, that's your narrative, and so it's correct because it's yours.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. And they can't make it wrong, and they can't change it. And it is.
If you were to say, in this whole experience around that whole story and where you are now, if you were to remove the personally part of it, and just as an observer, say, what is the spiritual journey that me as Teresa have gone through and gone on, and where has it taken me in my life today?
My gosh, my spiritual journey beyond that has just been so intense. I feel like, in terms of the show and relationship to the show, or just
the show, and you as a writer, and your journey in the places you've gone and the experiences, like, what do you feel like I evolved in this way, and my spiritual journey took me? If I was to look at it from a more observer point of view, I would see someone who came and was here, and then they came to here, and they came to here.
Right. I think when we write, we have to keep getting to the truth. Mm-hmm. And the more truth we write, the better the content is.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
And the more interesting it is, and allows us to be channels for healing for other people, if that's part of what we're writing about. And so for me, I think, I don't know if this is crazy, but I feel like the more I reveal the truth of the pain, or the shame, or the guilt, or whatever it is, the more I get detached from it.
Yes.
You would think that by naming it, you'd stay more attached to it, but I feel like by naming it, it allows me to detach
100%. And what I have found in that is, it becomes less a part of your experiential version of yourself, and becomes more something that when you name it, it becomes like its own thing.
Yeah.
And it helps you have space between it and you.
Yeah. It goes outside of you.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. How beautiful. Keep it going.
That's right. Writing a book now. So.
I cannot wait. I love this storyline. I cannot wait to read it. I have enjoyed your writing and so much, and I've enjoyed working with you. And
I'm so glad to work with you. You are such a talent, lady.
Thank you. You're very kind, and so are you. And I just, it's watching your journey and watching you share and crack open and tell that story. And now look at your writing in other areas seems like it's even more cracked open as well. Like
Yeah.
the story you're describing sounds pretty like you're going to get in there, and I cannot fucking wait to read it. Oh my gosh, this has been such an absolute pleasure. I feel like I got to even know you more than I already do. I love, love, love all the your sincerity and your what's the word I'm looking for? Just like your willingness to show up and your willingness to participate in your pain and in your journey and in your narrative is huge. Beautiful to watch. Beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the Shit Show.
Thank you for having a shit show, and thank you for all you're doing to help people uncover their creative and their spirituality and what that in their journeys. I've been watching you, and it's a delight seeing you evolve too. And
that means so much to me coming from you.
Thank you. Yeah, you.
Thank you. Teresa, it's been an absolute pleasure. Adore you and can't wait for all the amazingness that's coming from you next.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap on this 3-part series with the talented and brave Teresa Thome. I hope her honesty, humor, and depth remind you that your story matters. You're allowed to tell the truth of your experience. You're allowed to make meaning in your own way, and you're allowed to heal on your own timeline. Go follow Teresa's work, support her projects, and keep an eye out for her upcoming creative ventures, including more Hallmark storytelling. I will leave the links to learn more about her work in the show notes. Anywho, as always, my name is Suzanne Soul. This has been the Spiritual Shit Show podcast. I love you so motherfucking much, and I cannot fucking wait to see you again. All right, roll it, darling.